On this episode of Blast from the Past, we check out the Rocktron HUSH noise gate. The concept of noise gates as it pertains to anything audio related is not new, and noise has kind of always been a problem. However, Rocktron were the very first company to come out with a guitar-oriented noise gate in pedal form called the HUSH. We're going to talk about it today. Now, Rocktron was founded in 1983 by Bob Buck Waller, and Rocktron's studio legacy cannot be understated. They had so many rack mount pieces, whether that was digital processing, reverbs, things like that, because again, this was the 80s, but guitarists were always using the gates that were coming in other things as well. And the most notable, and I believe the first noise gate pedal for guitarists, was the Boss noise suppressor, which was basically a noise gate in the old-fashioned sense of it was just a volume-based kind of gate, and it wasn't that dynamic, and it worked fine. However, Buck thought there was a better way. Now enter the HUSH series of products, and I say products because you had them in pedal form, you had them in rack mount form, and the HUSH system from Rocktron was Rocktron's first huge hit as gear goes, but also it was the first pedal-based gate specifically designed for the guitar signal as opposed to just any incoming signal, and that's an important distinction. Now, if you see the HUSH pedal with its single knob threshold control and think, oh, that's just like the ISP decimator, you would be right, because Buck later went on to start ISP after selling off Rocktron in the year 2000, and he formed ISP and gave us all the Decimator series line of noise gates. Pretty cool. Now you can still find old HUSH pedals on the used market. I paid $90 for this and it's in pretty clean condition. This particular pedal is from the early 90s, and yeah, it's just an old mainstay that you will still find in some rigs today. I was actually at a Pennywise concert and saw Fletcher rocking 2 of these for his stereo boogie rig. And they were clearly very, very toured and also from the early 90s. Pretty cool. So let's go ahead and plug this in. I'm going to be using my Marshall JCM 82203 and Dietzel Herbert. And I'm going to get this on the desk, plugged in, powered up. Let's give this thing a ride, shall we? All right, I have the Rocktron HUSH pedal here on the desk. I have my signature Sterling by Music Man Stingray loaded with a Duncan JB in the bridge. And currently I have 2 amplifiers fired up. First is my JCM 800 2203, and then a Dietzel Herbert, okay? I chose these amplifiers for a few different reasons. The Marshall is kind of a baseline, there's no boost in front of it or anything like that, and the Dietzel is much more of a high gain thing, and ergo noisier, but it's not a crazy noisy amp inherently, but there's quite a bit of gain going on. All right, so let's start with the Dietzel. Can hear some string ring, you can hear some noise, right? You can hear my fingers moving along the strings, as one would expect, of course. Let's switch to the 2203. A little less string noise just because of less gain, but you can still hear the noise. Much less so, of course. All right, let's go ahead. I'm gonna start the Rocktron at noon, just to start. And let's go back to the Dietzel. Let's engage the HUSH. Right away you can hear there's a hiss. There is a noise floor to the HUSH, but the amp noise, it has been replaced by that hiss. Okay, let's lower the threshold. Less gating. You could hear the amp noise coming on in, and then you hear it gets replaced with the hiss. Let's turn this up. You can still hear the hiss, but the noise is all gone, and the string noise from my hands is now gone. So let's turn the hush off. So we're getting pretty hard. Back to the 2203. So cranked up, it's pretty strong. Let's minimize that a little bit. I'm surprised it adds that hiss. It's not taking away any top end or anything. It's not changing the fundamental tone of the guitar itself, but again, it's kind of replacing the amp noise with its own hiss, which, I don't know, in a live setting or something, I don't think I'd really care. Let's crank this all the way up. Definitely choking it out, as I would expect. So I would say, for me, the 1 o'clock, 1:30 is like the max I would go before it starts really kind of choking out notes. But again, this is a 30-plus-year-old pedal, guys. Pretty cool for the time. I remember these being really fresh and new and kind of, not revolutionary, but like, it's like, whoa, this thing really does the gating thing like none before it. Pretty cool. So what do I think? It's a pretty cool piece of pedal history, in my opinion. This is basically the ISP Decimator 1.0, right? I really believe this technology was perfected later with ISP, but you have to start somewhere. Is this a little noisy for today's standards? Yeah, it's a little noisy. Is it totally functional, especially in a live setting? Yeah. Is this a real bang for your buck noise gate pedal that you can still find for 50 to 100 bucks, depending on where you look? Yeah, absolutely. Pretty cool. I always wanted one of these as a kid, and I would see, I mean, these are incredible looking pedals design-wise, and the aesthetic is really, really industrial and incredible looking, and I love the shade of blue, and I used to want one of these all the time. Feels pretty cool to actually finally get one and to try one out for you guys. All the pickable links down below in the description. You've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.